Now we're back for some more Psgl, and before we jump into today's episode at the French Grand Prix, if you haven't seen round 1 where I introduced the league and also the drivers, you know, what split we're in and what things are looking like and the calendar, all that kind of good stuff, then go watch episode 1 guys and go see what's in store. But today we're here for round 2, and this is the French Grand Prix at Le Castellet. If you guys are excited and enjoy the league racing content on the channel, then leave a like and subscribe for more. I'm trying to go for 2 videos a week on league racing content approximately, so if you're new to the channel, you like that kind of stuff, then feel free to get subscribed. But today you can see in the background we are currently in qualifying. Now my first lap got invalidated for track limits at the back straight chicane. I still went on to finish the lap anyway because, you know, I wanted to get a reference delta. Now on my second run, you can see me here, I've realised there's some traffic on the way, so I've pulled out of the way to, you know, let those 2 cars that are approaching come by, and we'll just rejoin past the apex. You can see the first car's gone by, now the second one has gone by, but somehow we've got this and next lap invalidated, so really weird and really strange. I've never had that before. Apparently it is a thing, it's happened to other people as well, but I've just never had it happen to myself personally. But because of that, it's basically ruined that qualifying because we already invalidated on our first lap, and because of this weird double invalidation, that automatically cancels out our second lap. So I went back to the pits, I came and put another set of soft tyres on. I went back out, and this is now going to be pretty much our one and only lap. So yeah, not ideal. We're going to try and go for it though. So down towards turn 1 and turn 2, bring the car to the right, brake as the curb reappears, 5th gear, flick it left and flick it right, run it out to the white line if possible, then keep it super tight to the left as we head down towards turn 3, 4 and 5. Again, this is going to be the trend, but super aggressive over the curbs. You need to really drive on them on entry and exit because you're going to find a lot of lap time and, you know, just be a lot quicker. The first sector wasn't great, 21.4. Normally I can do 0.2 in the first sector, so we're 2/10 down already on what I know I can do. Possibly maybe even a 0.1, but 0.2 definitely. Then onto the back straight chicane where we messed up last time. We tip the nose in using all the curbing. We actually get some pretty good rotation, but it actually ends up being too much. We over rotate and actually go for a bit of a slide and lose time. So I lost time there. I've been able to do, I believe, 48.0 at the second split. So we're about 3/10 off right now, 3.5 off what I know I can do on a really good lap. Then into the double right-hander. To be fair, sector 3 was actually pretty good. I nailed this quite nicely. Then into the off-cambered left, wide entry, in for a late apex, getting back on the power, super early, keep the car on the curb to shorten the run down to the next corner, and then open it up as much as you can just before turning in, picking up a late apex again to open up the final corner, and then we get a double upshift there to get some nice rotation and clean traction. Still not great though, and a lot of lap time left on the table. We set a 27.2, a high 2 at that, and we go P11, which normally would be fine, but there's rain for the race, so essentially it doesn't matter what tire you qualify on, we're all going to start the race on the intermediates. So not a good qualifying, man. It was actually really close, you know, P15, half a second off the pace, and all the way down to 19th and last, the entire grid covered by 8/10. It was a really competitive session. I do feel like we could have easily got like a top 5, you know, a 27.0. My personal best in time trial was a 26.6, and time trial is a bit faster, but I do believe I could have done like a 26.9 on a really good lap. So there was a lot of time to find, but unfortunately, you know, between me messing up and the game also messing up for me, I didn't have enough runs and I didn't have a smooth qualifying. So that was going to be it for me in Saturday's qualifying session. So not ideal. But we'll try and fight back in the race. Again, it's not going to help that it's in the rain. It's going to make strategy quite, let's say, straightforward, quite standard. It should be just a one-stop, 2 intermediate stints. And also worth noting, my teammate Lewis Welch in P18, he had a pretty poor one as well. So we're up against it again, just like in round 1 in Bahrain. So we're going to have to try and pull something out the bag here to turn it around like last weekend. Now, one thing that I didn't mention is that we have gone for a wet setup. So rain for the race, intermediates on the car right now, and you know, that's part of the reason why we were slow in qualifying, because I didn't have a fully dry setup. I went +1 on the rear wing and +2 on the front wing, so we're quite a bit slower on the straights than what I'd usually be. So here we are, 5 lights for round 2 in Psgl, the PC F2 split, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go. Jeffrey Ritchie, or Shazoo Ace, is actually ghosting right now, so he's going to be a bit of a tricky one, but he's going to get a bit of an advantage because he can just go straight through the pack here at turn 1. Look at this, and just cut through. Bit of lag going on. Seems like there's a few issues as Flores Vias actually lags through me there, but by the end of it, we've actually dropped to P16 as Ulas gets by, and we're going to have to just be a little bit careful and cautious heading into turns 3, 4 and 5, just trying to make sure we find a bit of space, choose the right part of the track. We've got Flores trying it around the outside here, which is not going to happen, so we'll just make sure he doesn't get by. And then Ulas actually goes for a spin. I think he may have put his nose up the inside of Andreas Dormay and it backfired on him, not quite sure. Either way, we're back up to P15, and here comes Flores. You can see we're really slow on the straight. I'm not sure who went for a wet or a dry setup, but I just think generally my setup is slow anyways on the straight, and you combine that with the fact that I went quite high on the wings and we're quite a way off. Luckily, we keep Flores behind at the chicane. He's going to try again though with the ERS, sorry, and the slipstream to try and have a look in the inside here. This is not where you want to try and stick your nose up on the first lap. Luckily, he backs out and we can take the corner. And so far, amongst all the chaos, we've actually held on to our original starting position. We've got Shazoo Neon ahead of us here as he gets a bit out of shape, a bit of a wiggle there. We have a little look up the inside, but I wasn't quite able to make it work. Christian Sendel running wide. There's contact between him and Shazoo Neon, and Christian goes for a half spin. So yeah, big moment in the race. We're going to go up the inside here of the Red Bull and try and capitalise on that little error, taking a very wide line as well, and that way avoiding cars potentially dive bombing us up the inside. And we're now up to P13, so very, very good stuff there and great timing. Now in this race, you will hear some comms, myself and Lewis Welch, and then our engineer for this race is ex-JKB or Jake Benham. I'm sure if you know about League Racing, you've heard of him. So yeah, you can see now lap 3 and Christian Hausmann gets completely out of shape through turn 1. That puts him under pressure from Norbert Jakob, and they're both going to go side by side down into turn 3. Now we're going to see if we can try and potentially get both of them here and secure a P11, which would be nice. Heading into the slow part of the lap here into this little very tricky right hand hairpin. Still side by side, these two going at it quite nicely, having a pretty good scrap. But you can see on the exit here, I actually set up a really nice exit, getting the traction, but you're going to see my straight line speed is just not up to scratch. I'm using the ERS, but you can see we just can't keep up right now, and I'm no match, so I'm just going to have to kind of fall back in line, single file heading into the back straight chicane, and just wait a bit longer. I'm going to try and get the exit here. You can see we set up a nice wide entry, and then cut across, make the exit nice and short, but again, I just can't really make the difference on the straight. So Christian Hausmann will stay ahead for now, and Norbert Jakob up to P11. So the battle continues, but then into the double right-hander here, you can see we have a little bit of a look up the inside of Christian Hausmann, who runs a bit wide on the exit. He's actually going to move across a little bit of contact there as we head into the left-hander. I try to cut back, but not possible, just not enough space, and we have to just be patient for a bit longer as we keep the pressure on the Mercedes here. So looking around the outside again, not quite able to make it work. Flores now trying to overtake me instead, and also Lewis Welch up to P15 now behind us, so he's like P18, he's up to 15, so we're both getting a few places in this race. And as I mentioned last time, speaking of Lewis and Jake Benham, you'll see more comms and hear more comms in the second half of the race, especially as there is a chance things might dry up a little bit. But you can see now Christian Hausmann getting out of shape here through 1 and 2 for the second lap in a row, and that's going to give us the invitation. I'm going to have a look up the inside here again into turn 3. Not quite able to make it work, but again Christian runs wide, and this time we're going to go around the outside of turn 4, which gives us the inside for 5, and we do get the move done. I get hit in the rear, I believe, by Christian. I think he may have tried to get a cut back, and also I actually set up the exit really nicely here, so I got a nice clean run and managed to stay ahead. Now lap number 9, and you can see Flores has a penalty, Lewis Welch has a penalty, Andreas Dormay has a penalty, and slowly these are starting to stack up. We currently don't have any warnings at all, and this is the point of the race where I had good tyre wear, I felt great, and I'm going to try to pull the trigger and pull the pin and try and make an overtake here on Norbert Jakob. So into the final corner, we set up the nice tight entry, go nice and wide, and then up the inside of the final corner there's contact. Spin
40.0 last lap.
Not ideal, and we go for like a half spin, not a full one. We managed to get it under control, and we re-jump behind Lewis Welch. But you guys give me your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I personally thought I was more to blame. I underestimated the grip. There was literally no grip on the front end at the final corner at all in this race, and I don't think I was going to make the apex anyway. You know, even though Norbert did come in a bit sharp and a bit tight and close the door on me a bit, I needed to be a bit more alongside, and also I think make the corner, which is something I wasn't doing. So I hold my hands up. I think it was like 60-40 my fault, to be honest with you, but I think Norbert could have left me a bit more room anyway, and I may have not gone for the spin. Either way, it took me a few laps to realise. You saw the MFD a moment ago. It was all green, but I had a lot of understeer, and I knew deep down I had damage. I could feel I had some left front damage. Even though the MFD is completely green, there's no discoloration. And to be fair, my MFD didn't even come up, you know, following the contact, but I could feel the damage. The pace just wasn't there anymore. I managed to kind of drive through it and kind of get used to things, and to be fair, I got my pace pretty much back to what it was, you know, with a full front wing. But it's only after I stopped and done my pit stop that I realised how much pace I was lacking and how much grip I was missing out on. Lap 12 though, everyone's going to pit. Lewis Welch, you know, he was the lead car at the time, so he could go. I was debating staying out because, according to the inconsistent radio forecast, there was a chance it could start to dry up. So I think to myself, what if I can drag these tyres to the dry and potentially just go straight to a dry tyre? But the reality was the tyre wear was too much. I couldn't keep it up and I had to pit. So we enter the pits. Sam Bean in P2 also has a 3-second time penalty, and we're going to box for a set of inters. The good thing is we've managed to extend our stint, so we should have pretty good tyres throughout the second stint and at the end of the race. Now the bad news here, front wing change. So we're going to lose about 5, maybe 4.5 seconds here. Let's see, it's going to be a 8.3. So we probably lost actually more like 5.7 seconds because the standard stop is 2.5. So we lose the place of Christian Sandel, who of course spun earlier on lap 1. He was running in clean air, managed to recover and catch up, and he's actually now ahead of us because of the front wing change. So we've dropped, remember this, about 5.7 seconds with that stop. So we're behind Ulas Azuldadim, we're going to be behind Flores, we're going to be behind Christian Sandel. Ulas, I believe, has to stop, or if he has stopped, he stopped really early after that spin, of course, on lap 1. And we're back down to P18, so we've got it all to do. We've got to try and fight back, and we'll be hearing some comms shortly because things are going to get interesting in this race heading into the final 10 laps. So lap number 15, and Flores has some screen freeze issues, I believe, and he's actually going to drop behind us. He's also got 6 seconds worth of time penalties. Via Camper has 9 seconds, and Ulas now has 3 seconds. So again, the penalties are still stacking up. We don't have a single warning yet, so we're looking pretty decent on that front. The only issue is, throughout this final stint, I got stuck behind Christian Sandel. Up ahead, though, a spin, Christian Hausmann backwards at the left-hander. We're going to gain another place and move up to P16. But as I was saying, Christian Sandel, I was a lot faster than him, but he still had a very good pace. And because of the lack of straight line speed, I just couldn't get close enough. I was really struggling to overtake. If there was a race where I needed DRS, it was probably this one. I had so many moments in this race where I got really close and I genuinely had a shot, but it just wasn't possible. You can see how much grip I have. I have a little look up the inside, but, you know, Christian defended really well. I got to give him credit, and, you know, I believe his pace was actually quite decent. You know, I just had really good pace. I was really confident in both qualifying and the race. I feel like we threw away a massive opportunity. We had good pace in Bahrain last week, and then this one, you know, qualifying, a mixture of me messing up and being unlucky. You know, it wasn't ideal. But anyway, we're now going to focus on some comms, and let's have a little listen.
I think people have picked too early, gone too long, like with most set of tyres.
I think people might struggle at the end.
You can still get points to them.
I'll have good tyres, that's for sure.
Ace, come on, softs.
I need to pass Christian because he hasn't got a penalty.
Okay, looks like some of those puddles are clearing. We're still on the right tyre for the time being, but we're not a million miles away from slick conditions.
Alright, Jake, keep us posted on Risky now. I think was it Risky in the pits?
No, Ace, Richie.
Yeah. I really don't know what the crossover is in this game yet. I need to learn. Now at this point we started to realise points could be on the table. Now Lewis, not so much. He has a 9-second time penalty, so he's going to be a bit out of the running, but he can help me. Maybe we can work together here. And some cars, they're going to be struggling. There's some cars who put on lap 10 for Inters who may have tyre wear issues, so they may be forced into a different decision on strategy.
Yeah, it's not ready yet.
Don't feel like it. Inters still feel great. and we get our first warning for track limits. So yeah, we got the confirmation that, you know, the track just wasn't there yet for those kinds of, you know, weather conditions. So the good news is we're looking pretty decent. The fact that we went long on the first hit might help us out massively here, and you're going to see some people gamble. The rain is no longer falling at this stage, I believe. The track is, you know, drying essentially, so you might see some cars gamble on dryers and then some others struggling on their worn intermediates as we close in on Christian again.
Jake, other than Eulis, who has pens in the top 10?
Dylan Warren, Andreas Dormer, French, and Samuel Bean.
Do you have a lot or just one?
Can't really see. It's just all I can see is black and white. I don't know if that's just.
Sam being at 3 seconds when I checked, and so did Dizalewski.
Oh, yep. Sam Bean on 3, Andreas on 6.
Dion's gone.
So as you can see in the background, Shazoo Neon off the track, so we gain another place.
Mate, we've got this.
And I was just getting some updates on penalties to other cars around us, so we kind of know where we stand now on lap 23. If you ever get a shot, Jake, of Christian's ERS, let me know how much he has.
Yep.
And as you can see now, Jake getting involved, as I want to know how much ERS Christian Sendel has, so I know when to time a potential overtake on him.
Fucking hell, what a terrible exit. Just good doing your thing, Lewis. Doing good, mate.
We was trying to hold him up a bit, but he got a bad exit.
But you can hear Lewis saying he's trying to hold him up, and right there, Christian Sendel runs off track, gets a 3-second time penalty, and that's massive. Lewis struggling with grip, he runs off track, and Christian Sendel just breezes through. I'm going to kind of force a move here, a little bit rude, but I need to get by, and then Lewis kind of realises he lets me by, woes me on, and we're going to crack on. So we're now P12, and if you look at the time ahead, Ulas has a 3-second time penalty, Christian has a 3-second time penalty. Lewis is now going to go into the pits and gamble on a soft tyre because he's got a lot of time penalties. He may as well go for the risk.
Antoine another penalty.
Okay. What's his position?
T7.
Okay, Christian's got 3 seconds now. Nice.
So essentially, at this stage, I was asking Jake for penalties up the road. Antoine Dezalewski and Andreas Dormeyer.
I'll give it until end of lap 25 to switch to dries. If not, I'm committing to inters.
Were the cars that were closest to me, you know, in terms of on track for potential penalty benefit. I was just saying in the background that if I do go for dries, I'll go around lap 25. But Lewis Walsh already confirmed to me pretty much that it was nowhere near dry tyres. It was still intermediates, and we're pretty much going to go inters to the very end of the race here. So
Andreas Dormeyer, 9 seconds of penalties.
Okay. What's the gap?
5.
Can you see it on the relatives on the stream?
Yeah, hang on. He's in P5, so.
And as you can hear, you know, Anton Dezalewski running P5 with penalties. But if you look at the minimap, we're not far away. Things are starting to really close up here and hot up in the final stages. And I'm just trying to push on really because the penalties are going to bring this in our favour.
And that lead group has started to really break up now. It's not really a train anymore.
He's about 12 seconds ahead.
And as you can hear, Anton Dezalewski 12 seconds up the road. He currently has 9 seconds worth of penalties, so we need to try and close the gap. We know we've got better tyres, and you can see here, I'll try to have a look at Christian Sendel. I just can't get the traction or the straight line speed to challenge here, and I'm starting to run out of ERS now as well, so not ideal.
Yeah, I think Anton has damage and he's slowing him up. Not sure though.
And some more crucial information. So Dezalewski with 9 seconds also has wing damage, and I can confirm that's true. You'll see up ahead, look at the cars that are being held up by Dezalewski, and we're closing in. So at the minute, we're looking good. And you can see now, lap 27, we are in the mix for points.
What's the gap to Dormeyer? Okay.
It's around.
I've got the tyre thing on my screen, so if I'm strong tyres, everyone else must be fucked.
You can see up ahead, French is Antoine Dezalewski, and we get our first win for track limits on the last lap of the race. But we're really closing in now, and I'm going to try again here, but
About 11, 12 still.
He's pulling away from me on the straight. Fucking hell.
you can just hear me say, you know, he's pulling away. I can't match up on the straight, man. We just lack straight line speed. It's been a big issue for us. We're really, really fast in the corners, but that's kind of the sacrifice. But you can see now, I'm hoping Dezalewski might come into play here because we may be able to gain a few more places in the closing stages. But right now, we're on for points as Smasher wins the race. The tyre wear is looking pretty good. So if we're struggling a little bit now, then others must be in big trouble. You can see Christian Sendel going for the move here on Desilewski into the final corner. This is, I believe, irrelevant for position because of the penalties. But at the final corner, there's contact between the two of them, and on the run to the line, they're both going to run out of fuel, and we're going to pick up P9.
Oh, yes, P9. Fuck. Christian ran out of fuel across the line, so I got him.
And there it is, job done for the race, and a pretty decent one actually. A bit of a shame we didn't get the chance to really go for the win. If you look at the fastest laps as like a reference, to see what the pace really was throughout the race, we had top 2 pace quite easily. Top 2, top 3. We were fast enough in that race, and it's a shame. The potential was there all weekend. Qualifying, I think we had more than enough for a top 5, and then even for the race, I think it was even faster. The gamble on setup paid off. It was worth it. Obviously, a bit of a shame about the straight line speed, but in the corners I was so quick. If I'd been closest to the front, we could have made something happen. So, yeah, in the end of it, P9, quite a few penalties. We managed to clear most of them. Unfortunately, we didn't get Andreas Dorma. Even though he had 12 seconds of penalties, we was about 7/10 away, and I think had I been able to clear Christian Sendel earlier and got past with clear now, I probably could have had a better shot at that, but still, it is what it is. If you look at Norberto, when we tried to overtake him earlier on, we only finished 3 seconds behind him. So yeah, for sure, even without any kind of big issues, P4, P5 should have been the final result here today. But anyway, we look at the standings after 2 rounds, and Psgl, the point system is a bit different, so I recommend you guys pause and digest the positions. But right now, we get our first points of the season. We're currently P15, ahead of our teammate Lewis Welch. And in the Constructors, we're currently 2nd from bottom. So we need to try and turn this around. We've been very unlucky in the first 2 races. Lewis has struggled with pace this weekend. It wasn't his best track. But also got a bit unlucky in qualifying. But Bahrain was the real one where it really hurt, because Bahrain, we had pace for both cars in the top 6. Lewis should have won that race. So we'll keep fighting, we'll keep working away and grinding to try and turn the fortunes around. But for me, it feels good to know I've got good pace. I'm quite happy I've been dropped down to F2 this year, because I'm actually competing, which is refreshing for me. And I really do feel like we've got top 5 pace every race if we practice enough. So the next race is Belgium. If you guys know, I get PTSD and flashbacks of that track from the amount of spins I've already had on this game because of the curbs. So it should be a fun one. But tune in, guys, to my Twitch, link down below. I stream every Wednesday and Sunday. Wednesday Psgl, Sunday night is WOR, and I stream them about 8 PM UK time. So tune in if you haven't done so already. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a like, subscribe for more, and as always, a big shout out to the channel members for supporting the content. Finally, if you haven't done so already, guys, check out the 2 League Racing videos on screen, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me, and I'll see you at Spa. Adios.